Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast. My name is Steve Smith, and I'm your host. This episode, I'm sure you're going to enjoy. It's something a little bit different. This was recorded live at the ASTMA conference with sponsors of the podcast, Colin Campbell Chemicals. This homegrown Australian company, I was able to record this in their booth at the trade show stand. They've been fantastic sponsors of this podcast, certainly leading up to the conference. And at the conference, we had a fantastic time at the Adelaide Convention Centre. This is episode number 83. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast. I am currently at the Colin Campbell Chemicals stand here at the Turf Trade Show of the ASTMA conference in 2023. G'day, Nadeem. You're wired up?
I am.
Hold it a bit closer to your mouth, mate. There we go.
Okay,
that's better. There we go. Ramsey's taking a photo, Nadeem's brother. We are live recording.
It looks like I'm having a really big ice cream. let me apologise to everyone with the voice.
A little bit hoarse?
Every year I lose my voice at the conference, usually by about Tuesday, but we are on the second day on Thursday.
You're making it sound like it's just from you talking to all these people coming to visit your stand. Are you sure there wasn't any other reason of an evening? We're drowning our sorrows from the Origin last night?
Yes, I know that was very sad, but yes, we there was a lot of people to talk to. They were coming to the stand and we see them out at night and you talk to them more.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. That's the whole point. It's all the networking environment, which is what this is good for. Mate, big conference here in Adelaide. We're hoping to see more numbers as the day wears on. Mate, there was a big night the other night, the annual awards evening held the other night. You were there?
Yeah, definitely went to it. It's always a good night. It's always great to recognise people in the industry, and I really enjoy the apprentices, the graduate awards. They're the ones, the next generation coming through.
Yep.
And from what I heard, both the sports field and the golf side, really top-notch this year, really top-notch. And they all got along well with each other.
And quite diverse winners as well across the country, which we love to see. I'm just going to mention a couple of your winners from the golf side, mate, and you can let us know the sports turf side on the sports field side. But we had the graduate of the year was young Jaden Zappelli, and he's from Kalgoorlie Golf Club, so he's won the graduate of the year on the Monday night dinner.
There is something in the water in WA. The WA guys win a lot of awards, don't they?
They are certainly screaming from the top of the tree about how good they are over there in WA, kicking some goals. And we'll add to that with the fantastic Claude Crockford, which is a Sustainability and Environmental Award, and that was won by Rod Tatt at Mount Lawley. So another WA winner. It's they're certainly rising above, punching above their weight, you might say.
Oh, definitely. And you know what? I'm not surprised Rod has won that award. I've known Rod for a number of years, and the way he operates on a golf course is first class. He does a great job there. Lots
of work going on in Mount Lawley. They're doing a wonderful job, and it's obviously culminated in the Claude Crockford. And another one for another one of the awards that went on the other night was winners for the Excellence in Golf Course Management Award, and that went to Craig Walker from Davenport Country Club down in Tassie.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Craig there, which was a surprise. It's like, there's a few Tassie guys actually here, which is good to see them here. And Craig does an amazing job there. It's like he doesn't have a huge amount of staff, but I know they've reworked a lot, some of the course and the clubhouse, and it's
kicking goals.
Oh, it's an awesome facility. Went down there last year. Didn't get down there this year, but went down there last year for the the state associations conference.
Yep.
Very, very good, and he does a good job in help organising that as well.
Sensational, mate. And you've got a couple of the Sports Turf Awards. Let's talk about those ones too, the winners from there.
So they do a Team of the Year award, which they first did last year. Last year they had Meadowbrook and Linwood Country Club, because both of them, going through the floods and the like. So this year, I'm hoping to get this right. I apologise to people listening to this.
Pronunciation?
City of Boroondura.
Yeah, let's go. Boroondara. Let's go with that.
Melbourne. So they won a Team of the Year award.
Fantastic. Well done.
And then there was a graduate, the Sports Turf graduate, the Toro Award.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit involved in this because I'm on the Sports Turf Association for New South Wales.
Sure.
We had our graduate come up, and he's had a great time. Unfortunately, he didn't win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know.
It's tight competition, right?
Oh,
it's a national award.
Oh, that's exactly right, and that's the thing. So I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to let me just see the winner. I did introduce myself to the winner. So James Withau graduate,
Yep.
STA graduate.
Yep.
He
From
was
New
at
South
Lake
Wales.
Macquarie Council.
Okay.
So he works with Greg Askew there, if guys know him. So unfortunately he didn't win, but he did do well. He said it was tough competition, but the guy who won it was Lachlan Roach from the Gabba.
The Gabba. There you go.
Gabba, yeah.
Fantastic. A Queensland winner. We've got quite diverse winners across the country, but it's good to see them outside the New South Wales and Vic. I know that there's a high concentration of representatives in those states, but we've got WA, we've got Tasmania, we've got Queensland. This is great to see. It's getting out there, more recognition in other parts of the country.
Exactly. And the awards are, it's you're there, you're the top of the game, and that's the thing. It's like to win these awards, and then you look at the past winners, you go, wow, everyone who wins it, their careers, they've got good careers in there. They do a very good job, and it's one of those things that they're going to progress their career even more with this recognition. Absolutely,
a good stepping stone to leapfrog their careers, which is great to see. Now, mate, we're down here, like I said, we're in the trade show, we're in your booth. This is cool. We're kicking back on the lounge here a little bit. We want to try and see who we can nab from that's walking by, some of the different greenkeeper superintendents that we might swing by during the day as the day wears on, mate. This is great. You talked about leapfrogs and stepping stones for people in the awards. I went down to a seminar which was spoken by Tim Warren and Menina Gilby. Tim is obviously the superintendent of Glenelg Golf Club, and both he and Menina's the biodiversity manager at Glenelg. They won the Claude Crockford last year, and they're speaking at this conference this year, and it's great to go out there and learn some of the things that's going on. We're still hearing about them from past winners, and next year that will happen and be available, no doubt, to some of the winners from this year. So these are great opportunities to get out there and more recognition and help others and keep other people learning and hearing.
Oh, that's exactly right. It's one of those things, encourage everyone in the industry. Look, I know that a lot of the listeners for the podcast are all from all over Australia, regional areas, but if you can try to make a conference, whatever one it is, whether it's closer to you or a little bit away, just talk to your clubs to get here. It is worth it. I know it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but definitely well worth it, and just the information you pick up from the talks, but also the networking afterwards and the people that you meet.
Isn't it? Unreal. I mean, catching up with different people along the way. I mean, I'll just rattle off a couple of the people that I've seen since I've been here in the day and a half. I mean, there was, there's Pete Causey, who's a couple of them have been podcast interviewees that I've had on Keeper of the Green segment too, by the way.
Yes, that's
but
true.
Pete Causey from Eastwood, so he's come from Victoria. Nico Douglas from Cranbourne. John Mann from Metropolitan. So these are all Victorians that have come up to the conference. Phil Hill from Barbugle. Seen Phil roaming around, being part of the present part of the group, walking around as meeting with people and learning. Liam Ash from Pennant Hills Golf Club, who I recently did the podcast with, along with also Rowan Damon, the super at Grange.
Yes, that's right.
Sean Bowden from Royal Hobart. I mean, these are great people to bump into and catch up with along the way. You might meet for the first time. Then I've got other people. So there's also the Kate Torgersons of the world, Environmental Golf Solutions. She's doing a lot of work on the bio side and helping people like Glenelg and Menina Gilby. Jessica Abercrombie, who's the biodiversity manager from the Grange. These are great people to catch up with and that are wandering around you can meet with. I know Superintendent Mark from Mullaney Golf Club and young Bailey, the new superintendent at Highcombe here in Adelaide. These are all you can meet and greet and catch up with and chat with, connect with and see what opportunities you're able to learn. And you're going to learn stuff as well.
No, that's exactly it. That's what it is all about. It's all about learning. And it's like, you come to the show, you catch up with guys you haven't seen. And the great thing is, it's like, you see people who you haven't seen in a long time or reconnect, or they've gone somewhere where you didn't know.
Yep.
So that's the great thing. There's been a few people who are like, oh, wow, I haven't seen you in quite a number of years. Where are they now? And the likes like that. So, definitely well worth it if they can come down next year, hopefully, it's in Brisbane.
Is that been confirmed?
Yes,
been confirmed?
I'm pretty sure everyone was talking about it.
Well, we've confirmed it now, but
if it's not confirmed, there's a big rumour there's going to be Brisbane next year.
There you go. And mate, and it's great to be able to talk and walk into the businesses like yourself here at Colin Campbell Chemicals, and people might have questions that they probably haven't had a chance to talk to you about over the phone, or they can meet up with you and go through some bits and pieces and talk at length about different things, questions with products from you guys. They can walk into any of these stands and they're able to see and talk to the reps all in one space. That's a great thing, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And the other side of it is it's not just the reps they deal with. I've always encouraged people go to the companies that make the products, go and talk to those guys, because it's like us, you don't see me all the time. You don't see I'm looking over there at Dean Mosh at St. Jenny, you don't see him all the time, but you come and see me and you ask those questions. And even the machinery guys they've got the experts on there who work with the machines, design the machine, take that feedback. So, and they know the little little things about it, little hints about certain things that you don't necessarily know, but they know and they can help you with that.
Well, even just then, we saw Ben, Superintendent of Indooroopilly, come up and a couple of questions, looking for a book from who was the author?
John Kaminsky.
John Kaminsky. And, of course, we've got Dr. Jim Brosnan down here doing a talk, who you know quite well, and he was in the stand yesterday and hoping to see him a bit today. I mean, there's gurus everywhere. Gurus and superstars. That's what I call it.
No, that's it. And they had an ERI workshop, and Percy Wong, Dr. Percy Wong from University of Sydney.
There you go.
Plant pathologist. He's an expert in diseases around Australia. So he was here as well, having a chat to him before. And there's some really good. John Nolan was here as well. Gary Behag, Nathan Walker from Oklahoma State. So
a lot international. So, like we said, Dr. Jim Brosnan. So, and this is lots of opportunities for people to. We've got photo bombs happening. Is loving it. For people to come in and learn. Like you said, it's not just what you go and hear down in the seminars. There's so much more of the networking side of things in the trade show. As we sit here and gaze around at the different people just chatting, connecting and learning. Great opportunities. There is a lot of good reasons, if you haven't been before to the conference, to make the effort. And like you said before, talk to your clubs, work hard at that to try and make sure that there's a way you can get help or they can assist you. There's Dr. Jim Brosnan over there.
If you see him
you got a wave, yeah. So, lots of reasons to work hard to try and get here. And, mate, it's just great that we've been able to sit down and I like this idea of being able to record. Is this a first for the Australian Sports Staff Managers Association Conference?
I think so.
Podcast, a live podcast recording. Who have we got here?
Yeah, Mr. Casey.
Come on, sit down. Pat, how you doing, mate? Nice to meet you for the first time. Hang on, we'll set this up. Now, we'll just hold this mic up. You can hear it all right?
Yep, gotcha.
Nice to meet you, Pat, for the first time.
Yeah, you too, Steve.
Now, let's throw this out because I think we haven't officially announced in the podcast, in the news, the Walking the Fairways. Last we spoke, you're at Kalgoorlie Golf Club.
Yep, correct.
Now, there's been some changes. You've made a bit of a move further west.
Yeah, move to civilisation.
We did talk about the isolation of Cal.
Yep.
You are now the superintendent at Raw Perth.
Yep. Move west. Yep.
Hold that up a little bit closer to your mouth, mate. No, that's all good. It's mate, that's a big step. You've done a lot of work at Kalgoorlie.
Yep.
And hosting the WAPGA there and things like that. Now it's at Royal Perth. There's lots going on at Royal Perth.
Yeah, there's a bit in the pipe works for us, and so pretty excited about the change and pretty happy with the move to Perth, and pretty happy. Yeah.
Very good, mate. It's how different is a place like Royal Perth for you than Kalgoorlie? Let's move aside from the isolation. Everything.
Extremely. Yep.
Civilization.
Yeah.
How long have you been there now?
6 months.
6 months, and you're finding a bit of a groove now. You're seeing what the club, because there's works happening with some reworks, redesigning works. I know
very
Clayton
initial stages. Very initial stages. The master plan's been done, and we've got to get council approval and funding and all that sort of stuff. So there's very very initial stages. And
we'll just turn this around here like that. There we go. Yep.
Not used to this.
Not used to the live.
I'm known to Dean. Yeah. So very initial stages of a redevelopment.
Okay.
We're a long way off yet. So.
Okay, fair enough. But exciting times ahead for the future. How big's the team you got there at Royal Perth?
I've got 13, including myself, with 2 part-timers including that. So,
Okay. And you've obviously big trip to come to Adelaide, not as big as going to the East Coast conferences, but this is good. I was just talking to Nadeem about the opportunities and the benefits of coming to the conference every year, because we want to try and see more and more people make the efforts, and certainly young people. There's opportunities to network and learn along the way. This has been good for you. How often do you get a chance to come to this sort of thing?
I come every year.
Okay, great.
It's great. Even when I was in Kalgoorlie, it was a bit harder to get places.
Yep.
But I come every year. You get so much out of it. Networking's a bonus, I suppose, for me. But the educational stuff's getting better and better every year.
Yep.
It's good to see more culture in the workplace and stuff like that, and mental health stuff and dealing with stresses and those types of seminars, because we all know how to grow grass, but we all struggle with people management and learning how to grow and evolve the team and all that sort of stuff as well. So that's good.
They're positives that they're starting to, and we are seeing more of that. Every year that goes on, the conference, you're seeing a little bit more inclusion and making those sorts of things more important, which, as you say, it's great. We know about mental health in our industry and how it's good to start to learn how to deal with that better and make everyone sort of work cohesively a team, and certainly within yourself as a person.
Very much so. We all become superintendents because we love growing grass and the agronomy side of things, but we certainly don't know much about the people management side of things. And so yeah, that's a big culture shock when you start leading a team, and especially I've got a reasonably big team of 13 and with multiple personalities, and yeah, so it's always good to get some pointers on how to get the best out of them on a daily basis. So,
for sure. Mate, Pat, thanks so much for joining in on short notice. Nadeem nearly grabbed you by the leg and dragged you in here.
Yeah, I was trying to give him a bit of grief, actually.
No, all good. Thank you, mate. Great to be on the Golf and Greenkeeper podcast. Cheers.
Good on you, mate. Cheers.
Anita Mitchell, is that how you pronounce it?
That's
Anita
right.
Mitchell from TRI.
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 Yeah,
I'm
links.
hopeless with these Kiwi pronunciations.
Everyone's been saying TRI. So.
Yeah, that's what I've always thought. TRI Links.
That's right.
In New Zealand, the wonderful new golf facility that's blowing the world apart.
Yeah, well, so far we've opened half of it. South Course opened last October, and it's already jumped up to number 2 course in New Zealand.
Is that all? Number 2?
Not even. Well, Tahiti's going to be a hard act to
Yes,
beat,
that's right.
But no, the South Course guys are super stoked to be number 2 already.
Amazing.
Not even open a year.
That's incredible.
And our North Course opens in October, so we'll be knocking on their door, hopefully.
Exciting.
I think it's going to get pretty competitive out there soon.
Exciting time. Well, it's just New Zealand is I love New Zealand. I've only been there twice, and I've only ever been to the South Island, but I just love New Zealand. It's such an incredible place to go and visit. And you guys in a golf world are really, like I said before, blowing the world apart. I mean, you can rattle off how many golf courses you have, and so many of them are in the top. So you're at TRI Links.
There we go.
What's your role there?
I am the irrigation tech for the North Course. It's I've just been promoted to that to sort of step into more of a leadership role.
Yep.
I've been there 2 years, and yeah,
Enjoying it?
Oh my god, I love it. When you just find your happy place.
Yeah, wow, that's
I found
great.
my happy place.
That's so cool.
Going to work is not a chore; it's a pleasure.
That's so good.
We work in the most beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
People that come out are just blown away, and we get to see it every day. We get to see things that people don't get to see, like the sunrise.
Because you're on the east side.
We're on the east
so
side.
You do,
we
yeah.
get the most spectacular sunrises that even the players don't see.
Yeah.
We're out there way before they are.
Yeah.
And
you're just oozing that play. You really are so excited about what you do for a living.
Yeah, I am. I'm probably
and passionate.
Very passionate. Yeah, and it's not something that I ever saw myself doing. I never saw female greenkeepers.
Yep.
I didn't even think it was a serious job. I
Yep.
thought it was what old retired boys did to look out.
I love good stereotypes, don't you?
Yeah, and we've got to break those down.
Absolutely, especially and it's so good to see you here. You're in Australia. We're in Adelaide. I mean, this is not like driving an hour down the road in New Zealand, right? This is a big effort to come here.
Yeah, it was in a way. I am actually here on behalf of, thanks to Syngenta. They
Yep.
Syngenta and the ASTMA and the New Zealand equivalent, they banded together and said, let's offer 2 scholarship positions to bring 2 Kiwis over. There was an open one and also a women in turf one. So I went through the application process, got an interview, and was lucky enough to get a full ticket over here.
That's unreal.
Yeah, myself and Sam Keats are representing New Zealand.
Awesome.
And man, what an opportunity! I was telling people that I won this, and they were just like, "This is just going to accelerate your career now."
That's awesome.
Don't screw it up. Do
no
not
pressure.
throw away your shot.
No pressure. But you mentioned before about breaking down these barriers, these ridiculous stereotypes that have been around. Look, stereotypes are born out of existence of what's there on the landscape, right? But they hang on. And we're past that. We're trying to really push against all that stuff now with getting females in turf and people like yourself. And I've interviewed Jerry O'Callaghan on this podcast before. She's a great leader in the field of leading women into this new age of greenkeeping. Down there being superintendent of Sandy Links. And I love seeing more faces, more female faces in the industry because there's no reason why there can't be.
There's really no reason. I think... we had some great talks on the first day of the conference. It was a 50% split between the talkers. We had 50% men, 50% women.
Yep.
But I think the women made the more impact.
Sure.
And they were talking about how do we get more women, and it's kind of scary to hear that only 1.4% of the industry is women. We're TRI Links. We're so lucky. 15% of our greenkeeping staff are women.
Wow.
And I didn't realise how fortunate we are to do that, and we've got great leadership in place that aren't hiring on with any bias, you
Yep.
know, like or any.
It's just on the candidates that are put forward.
They're not
Yep,
even hiring based
credit.
on your experience.
Yep. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
hiring
right.
on, are you a good fit?
Yep.
Are you gonna? Can we teach you what we need to teach you? And
Yep.
Are you going to get on with the rest of the team? And have
Yeah.
you got an open mind?
Yeah.
Not everyone
Absolutely.
believes the same thing, but how do you treat that person who doesn't believe the same thing that you believe? And we've got a great crew out there, and it's just it's awesome. I mean, when I started there, I was the only female for 6 months.
Yep.
I didn't care.
Didn't matter.
No.
But you worked hard at what you did because you enjoyed it. How did you get into it?
It was by accident, really. I was a beer brewer, funnly enough. So
What a great gig that is.
Everyone says that.
But I'm like everything, it's all rosy on the outside, right?
Exactly. It's hard. It's long hours, you know, and if you're not working for the right people, they will milk you for every ounce of beer that you're worth.
Sure.
And I burnt out severely.
Okay.
Very depressed, and at one point was thinking of ending my life. And you know, it was just a bad situation to be in. And of course, you're fueled by a poison.
Yeah,
Essentially,
absolutely.
you're fueled by alcohol. It's free. It's on tap. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I used to go to beer conferences, and I can tell you now, they are wild compared to these.
Sure.
You'd go to a trade show, and instead of handing out hats, they're handing out beer.
Yeah, that's going to end. That's going to be a long
well.
conference and not end well.
So I burnt out. I left my job, and this was in January 2020, and of course, COVID was not really in the face.
On
it was
the
something that was
fringes,
happening in
on
China.
the other side of the world, wasn't it?
Yeah, something's going on over there.
We were safe back then,
We were
man.
safe.
Here.
So I actually thought, oh, well, I'll have another crack at a brewing job. Applied for a job, got an interview, and then within 3 days of having my phone interview, they rang back and said, well, we're going into lockdown and we don't know what the economy's going to do, so we actually can't hire anyone now.
Yeah,
Sorry
right.
about that. I was like, all right. So, you know, took it as a bit of a sign that it's time to branch out.
Yep.
Got a part-time job as a in a greenhouse, just growing vegetables and stuff, so I figured out what I wanted to do. And then Tiara Links were just advertising on the local Facebook page.
Yeah, right.
You know, no experience necessary, we're looking for people to come out and be greenkeepers and do some revegetation planting at a new golf course build. I knew nothing about the project at all.
Yep.
I went out, emailed him and said, look, this is my position and I'm keen. He's like, come and meet me. And he's like, yeah, look, you sound good. Well, do you want to start? Do you want the job? And I was like, yeah, I can start. When can you start? I can start tomorrow. Well, I just got to quit my last job. And that was it. I think I started 2 days later, and even the first day, I was like, oh my God, this is me.
That's
I don't know what it was.
That's so good.
I was going around picking weeds out of the turf,
Sure.
and trimming the heads, like
Yep. Pretty mundane, boring stuff,
like
but
easy stuff. But I was like, oh my God.
Like you said before, and I hear it in your voice, and when you talked about, it's the location, it's the things you see, it's being out in that environment. It's a beautiful landscape over there. I've only seen photos, I haven't been there, but all of those things make it such a wonderful workplace, and you're fitting into a team, and obviously the team environment's good. And I will touch loosely on what you said before, but mental health is so prevalent in our industry, and you've come from a different industry where it was obviously a very challenging thing for you personally, but mental health is and we see a lot of that now in the conference, that we see lots of talks about team culture and mental health programs, and you've really got to look after yourself, but also look out for the others in the team as well, don't you? And try and help each other out.
Yeah, and there's a scary element of whatever the new generation is. We've got young guys and girls in our team, and they have to be treated a lot differently to what the older crew do. And
sure.
And I worry about that generation. Though, for me, it's like a challenge now as a leader: is how do we not wrap them in cotton wool and protect them, but how do we make sure that they're happy so that they can do the right job? And how do we stop them from getting depression and low job satisfaction and stuff like that? Because I've been there, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
I was going to say, you're speaking from experience, and now you're in the leadership team, so you can really be a part of that change and a part of making sure that the next batch, and with a better way of saying it, the next group of young people coming through don't go through what you went through.
Yeah, you're never starting from scratch, right? You're starting with experience. So even though I'm new to the turf industry, I've got a lot of crossover experience for one, but also life experience that I can bring to help with these guys. I know what it's like to have bad employers. I know what a bad employer looks like.
Yep.
I know the signs of when someone's withdrawing and depressed, and hopefully I can use that experience to help create this an environment where that doesn't happen, and a team culture where we won't allow that to happen.
Yeah, yep, there's
no room for bullying. There's no room for any sort of feelings where the staff are going to be not performing their best because of a mental challenge, or like mental, I guess, difficulties. Or,
for sure. And and look,
so important.
And as soon as you mentioned Tiara Links, in my head, I've got these flashes of photos of this beautiful ASTMA. I can't stop smiling thinking about it. And like I said, I've never been there, and you're working there, and I hear the passion in your voice. It's so great to have you stop by. Thank you for coming to stop by. It's been great to hear your story, and thank you for sharing some of those personal things. But I'm so glad to see and to hear that you're part of that leadership team, and you're passionate about your new role in this job, working on golf courses.
Yeah.
And look, I've got no doubts that we're going to see more of you as time goes on with that passion that you've got. You're bringing that to the industry, and that can only be a great thing for us, everyone involved in the golf industry, certainly in the Southern Hemisphere, in Australia and New Zealand. So thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you and hearing more from you.
Yeah, cool. I can't wait to talk more about Tiara in the future.
Absolutely.
It's a special place.
I might have to get you on for a longer version of this podcast. I think we can talk about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Anita.
Thank you.
And we're in. Dr. Jim Brosnan, welcome to the couch at the Colin Campbell Chemical Stand.
The couch at the conference.
The couch at the conference. We're here at the ASTMA conference here in Adelaide, mate. You've been talking all morning this morning about power resistance. That's been one of the big talks that you're here for.
Yeah, I'd say it was a big theme of the whole conference. Really.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's an issue that's in every state. It seems to be first and foremost on a lot of people's minds. I mean, it affects everyone. I mean, one of the things we talked about this morning was at the end of the day, the POA is probably always going to win.
That's probably a bitter pill to swallow, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it might be one that we have to with emerging regulations and whatnot. I think at the end of the day, there are really good POA surfaces out there.
Yes.
I think, we can move into a world where maybe, history does repeat itself. And there was a time where we had 2 grass systems or maybe even 3 grass systems that ebbed and flowed with nature, and we might be headed back there.
Now be careful, because there's lots of golfers out there that might struggle to get their heads around that too.
That's true. There's going to be a communication piece, I think, for sure.
For sure. So you're from the University of Tennessee in the States. You're in the plant science department over there. Done a lot of work in that, and you travel around. You're here in Australia. You're here this time. I know you were at the Power Forum that Nadine put on last year. You were done via Zoom, but now you're here for this in person. A big commitment to come over. How much, in a sense, are we dealing with a POA challenge? From the States to Australia, New Zealand, like around the world, and chemical control to manage POA. Like, it's not just isolated, really, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, there's an international group that tracks herbicide resistance in weeds globally through all sorts of agronomic crops.
Right.
Wheat, soybeans, corn. And you look at that across all agronomic commodities, POA is right up there in terms of resistance cases. It might trail behind ryegrass and in the U.S. Palmer amaranth, but the Weed Science Society of America, for example, they do a rankings. It's a ranking list you don't want to be on in terms of the most problematic.
Don't want to win that one.
You don't want to win that one. And POA was ranked as the second most problematic weed of all grass commodities. So that includes corn, wheat, etc. It is not a problem that's unique to any part of the country, any certain state, any certain turfgrass system. I mean, it's a challenge.
That's staggering. And I think, golfers are board members, they're committee members, decision makers at clubs, and like you said, it's communication. There's going to need to be a level of adjustment and understanding that it is across many different fronts a problem. So in golf, we probably need to step back a little bit and understand how big a challenge POA can be.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I think at the heart of what we do in the golf industry is we prepare surfaces for play, right?
Yep.
We're not really in the monoculture business. We've maybe evolved into the monoculture business.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But if you go back to the roots of the game, it's surface prep, and you can have multiple grasses in a surface and still have it perform optimally. And there are a multitude of different examples out there where that that is true. And I think we might have missed our mark over time as we've gotten fancy new toys that control all of our problems. It was cool to have monoculture, but now as those things are maybe being a little bit exhausted, kind of getting back to the roots of the game seems like a worthwhile
It's an
approach.
Interesting way of looking at it. I really like that, to think about the core of the fundamentals of where it came from, how golf evolved in the surface preparation. We can learn to live with and utilise POA as part of the golf surfaces, and not think of it as something that's terrible, hideous, and we don't want to see that mark on our surfaces, because there are can you give us a couple of the bigger name example golf courses that have POA green surfaces in the States? I'm sure, I don't know them, but I'm sure there are a number of them.
I mean, no one's complaining about Oakmont greens. I don't think
Oakmont has POA surfaces.
I don't think the members at Oakmont are sitting in the clubhouse talking about how they need to renovate to go to the latest new bent grass. I mean, Oakmont has POA greens. Pebble Beach has POA greens. Cypress Point has POA greens. They played a Ryder Cup, the 2018 Ryder Cup at the Golf National in France. That was POA wall-to-wall.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it is a stronger grass than we give it credit for.
Oh, yeah, look, that's what makes it a weed, right? Because it's so tough. Because it can evolve so well. Because it can dodge our bullets all the time.
That's right.
It's really quite interesting. I hear and have had conversations with, and I go back to golfers because they are the people that make up the decisions in the background of golf clubs and directions. That's why they're called directors of where clubs want to go, and how our turf managers need to maintain surfaces and prepare them for the golf clubs. There's a lot of, and I don't know how much you've heard the discussions around, but in Australia, the premier courses, they really are saying that it needs to be, go back to that monoculture term of not having POA in. We need straight bent grass surfaces. We're stripping back greens and rebuilding them because they have POA to go back to single bent. I mean, we really need to try and think differently moving forward, because we hear about resistance, and it's a big deal.
That's right. And I mean, I think it's important to keep in mind too that we've got really great tools to quantify surface performance to make it something more than just a subjective, that's rolling well, or that's firm enough. I mean, you look at the USGA evolution of the True Firm, and now they're with this GS3 golf ball that's looking at not only green speed, but lateral and vertical deviations of a golf ball as it's rolling across a putting surface. I mean, I think there's a world out there where we start to use these tools to our advantage to quantify, well, this is the performance of my surface right now, and then I can have this other plant within the canopy managed, and the performance metrics don't really change. You know, that's work that needs to be done. And I think another piece too, and I touched on this in one of the talks here, there's been work done to kind of identify different golfer archetypes, because not all golfers are the same.
Sure.
And those archetypes value different things about a property, and something that we as turfgrass managers may look at and go, wow, that's a major problem. I need to do something. Might not move the needle for some of the archetypes. In club to club, the archetype populations will vary too. So, I mean, it's super fun for a research person to work on this because, like, every situation is so nuanced and different. And it certainly, it was an issue long before I started in the business, and will probably be one long after.
There'll be people starting it. That's right. Long after you'll be handing the baton to many others, and they'll still be researching into it and doing lots of study. Look, Dr. Jim, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. Thanks for stopping by, and thank you for coming to Australia, a long way from home, and you brought the family along, so it's a big deal. So we appreciate you coming down to our conference down here in Australia.
I appreciate the opportunity. It's been a trip of a lifetime for me and for my family. Everyone's been so kind, and it's just been great to interact with the industry here, and couldn't be more appreciative. It's been a first-class event the whole way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Jim Brosnan.
Oh, you're welcome.
Superintendent of Terry Hills Golf and Country Club. Is that the full name, Gareth?
Yeah, Golf and Country Club.
Golf and Country. Terry Hills Golf and Country Club in Sydney. Gareth Hammond, thank you for joining me on the couch here at the Colin Campbell Chemical Stand at the trade show at the conference. Mate, I want to hear a little bit what are your thoughts on coming to something like this? I always wonder what people's thoughts are. How important is it for a turf manager to get down to a conference like this? Because we are in Adelaide, South Australia, from New South Wales. There's a bit of effort involved.
Yeah, definitely, but I think it's well worth it, both from the educational side of things, but then, just being able to meet a heap of people that you wouldn't usually meet, both on the trade side as well as other superintendents, just a whole host of interesting people to meet.
Yeah, sure, and I've just had Dr. Jim Brosnan here, and you were listening to the POA Resistance seminar there. There were lots of experts talking about that sort of stuff. It's all pretty relevant to a lot of people, isn't it?
Definitely, and I think it keeps us up to date with what's actually happening. Even myself, who have heard that talk a few times, it's sort of like watching a movie where you watch it the third or fourth time and there's things that you sort of pick up on.
Good point.
So, yeah, it is really advantageous to be here. And even just meeting and being able to ask people like Jim Brosnan one-on-one any questions you may have.
Yeah.
So that gives you a real hands-on approach to be able to talk to people who aren't even from the country.
Yeah, that's right. It's great that he's made the trip out to Australia. You can pick his brains. He's walking around and being part of the conference during the day. You've come with your assistant, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Brought one of my assistants down here. We try and share that around with who we bring each year.
Yep.
Unfortunately missed last year, but we try and get him back into the routine of a couple of us coming down. I was fortunate enough for the first number of my career to be brought. I worked for Dave Warwick at Avondale.
Okay.
And he probably took me to 7 or 8 conferences in my time there. And
yeah,
it was just such a great experience getting to meet people in the industry, and it really just gave me a really good foothold to get my name out there.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, and I find that the casual networking nature of the in-between parts of the lunches, and you'll bump into people or other people introduce you to other people. These are all things that you'll have connections that you can call on, other peers as well, right?
Definitely, and I think I've just started. I'm a board member of the New South Wales Golf Course Supers Association.
Yep,
it's really given me an opportunity to meet some of the regional guys.
Yeah, sure.
Sort of our new initiative with the Supers Association New South Wales is really to get that engagement with some of our regional guys. Something that we probably haven't focused on enough in recent times, probably for a long time. So even just touching base with some guys out west of the mountains and stuff like that, we're really trying to engage that our entire state with our association. That's our drive at the moment.
Yep.
We're looking to push new members. We're looking to get people involved, and then on top of that, we're looking to be able to provide value to all of our members, not just Sydney and the outer sort of area.
The metro regions, yeah.
Yeah, and we sort of extend down to Wollongong and then up the Central Coast a little bit, but we really want to branch out and make sure that everyone's getting well represented, and that's going to be something that we keep, as a board, we're going to keep focusing on.
Well, that's good. Yeah,
and it's been good to catch up with a couple of guys, like guys from Mudgee, guys from Bathurst.
Well, Sizey and Dave. I'm glad you actually said that, because I used to organise the Blue Mountains and Central West District's Greenkeepers Golf Day every year for 10 years, and that was the connection. Every year everyone would connect that way, and distance is a difficult thing sometimes. So the fact that as an association in the New South Wales state, you're focusing on, it's great to hear that's something that's going to be part of moving forward with you guys and the rest of the committee. So I'm really pleased to hear that from where I used to work, and I know a lot of the guys. I've had Dave on the podcast, and I've spoken to Sizey. I'll have him on the podcast soon too. So look, that to me, that's really, really positive to hear, and I'm really glad that that's something that moving forward. But those are the sorts of things that you can do. Coming to the conference is great. It's all about connection and being able to talk to peers and always learning, I find, is fantastic.
Definitely, and that's the thing. They were very excited about being involved and what they could learn from guys in Sydney. But it goes back the other way as well. Like some of the stuff that the guys in the regional areas do is just impressive. Like managing an 18-hole facility, 2 or 3 people. It's something out of my world. It's something I've never experienced. And it just how efficient and all the issues that they'd have to deal with. It's something that I'm sure a lot of guys from Sydney could really learn from.
Yeah, well, there you go. And we're always learning. It doesn't matter who or where. We're all turf managers. We've all got teams of varying sizes. We're all looking after different sized golf courses in different in our own ways. But you're always learning. And I think that's fantastic. So really good to hear, Gareth. Thank you for jumping on the couch and into the Golf and Greenkeeper podcast, mate. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Steve.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, how exciting was that to listen to those live interviews, and you could hear Nadeem just jump out in and grab Superintendent Pat Casey from Royal Perth. He literally grabbed him by the leg and dragged him in. So that was really interesting. Now, look, we're nearly a week after the conference. I've managed to put everything together, and we've had to give Nadeem's voice a little bit of a rest. And Nadeem's on the line. G'day, Nadeem.
Hey, Steve.
Mate, I've had to give a bit of time. I wanted to record this earlier, but we had to give you a bit of time to rest your voice because you wouldn't have been able to make any noise. It was only a few days ago.
No, that's it. So everyone listening to this podcast, early on hearing me, my voice was totally gone, and it always happens at every conference. I lasted until Thursday, but yeah, it's pretty much nearly 100%. Now a week later.
Very, very good, mate. Now, look, this is just obviously the post of the live recording that we had at the conference at your stand, the Colin Campbell Chemical stand, and I just wanted to we'll do a little bit of a tie up, and it's me to say thank you for sponsoring the podcast, and thank you for sponsoring me to be down there to get those interviews, to talk to people like the superintendents like Pat Casey, like Gareth Hammond, like Dr. Jim Brosnan, and also don't forget we had Anita Mitchell from TRI Links, if I got that correctly again. So great conversations had, mate. Thank you for allowing me to be down there with you at your stand, meeting all these people and just chatting around, and it was fantastic. So great to be able to put it together in a podcast, mate, and put it out there for everyone to listen to.
No, it's great, but I'm glad you could come down. We were more than happy to sponsor you to come down. And one of the things that was what I didn't realize, I guess, it's a bit naive of me going, a lot of the people that you've interviewed, you've actually haven't met them face to face.
No.
So, mate, I was humbled that you got to meet these guys face to face. And, I saw Pat and I thought, no, I've got to get Pat on board. Did he mention the voucher?
No. You know what? We had an opportunity to bring it up again, and he'll listen to this podcast and he'll have a chuckle again about it too. So that's a good one. But
but I was surprised. Like, just to give the audience a bit of a background, I was just trying to talk to other people in regards to our products and the likes. But I didn't know when you said to me all those people that you got going. Geez, I had no idea. Besides Pat, I had no idea who else you had on the on the podcast.
Yep. Yeah, I know you were busy chatting away, doing your thing with with your products and talking to people in the industry that manage the golf courses and how you can help them. So you were having great conversations, and I was busy in the background getting those people to sit down on the couch and give us a bit of insight. And look, I've got to be honest, and I'm going to say it again. A big thank you to Dr. Jim Brosnan, because he was brought out to Australia, and part of his thing for the conference was to do the talk. It was a long talk that he was part of there on the Thursday about POA resistance. And I wanted to say thank you again to Dr. Jim. Hopefully he gets a chance to listen, for being part of the podcast, sitting down with me for that period of time and chatting about the things that he was basically, he came here for. He was kind enough to give us that time. And mate, you've got a great relationship with Dr. Jim. So thank you for helping me get him on the couch and having a chat to him.
Oh, no, that was easy, mate. It was an easy question to ask him, and he said yes straight away. As I said, I've got a good relationship with Jim. I've known him now for a number of years. I earlier on went to University of Tennessee as a guest of the university, presented at the university to the faculty. They were kind enough to put me up in the hotel there. Went to Jim's place for Super Bowl, and when he came here to Australia, we went out to dinner together, my family, his family, because he came for a holiday as well. So he took advantage of it, and, yeah, he had a great time. And I can never do enough for him. He is, besides being such a very smart person, he is just a true gentleman, but a good friend as well.
No, fantastic. And I will say, and those who listen to the podcast, he's got a great voice for podcasts. There you go.
And for Turf Lego as well.
And those of you who haven't seen it, I shared that video on my socials. Mate, tell us the little turf conference video. That was really cool with a couple of cameos. Tell us a bit of the background of that one while we're here.
Yeah, yes. I hope it doesn't take too much time up. But there's a guy called Ben McGraw. He's the entomologist at Penn State University. So insects. He knows insects back to front and the life like that. So I've got to know him quite well. Again, good friends and everything like that. And he is the one that sort of does the turf Lego. If you search turf Lego online, he does a lot of stop motion Lego. And I was next to we knew we were next to Ben Gibson at the Toolbox team.
Yes, the Toolbox team.
I spoke to Ben about, hey Ben, we're next to each other. Let's do something to try to attract people to the stand. And then we went out, thought about it, and about a month later said, hey Ben, you want to do turf Lego? He's like, what's turf Lego? Explained it to him. I got in touch with Ben, and Ben was like, he goes, let's get Jim involved in there as well. Sounds good. And then me and Ben Gibson he goes, what about we get Anthony Mills in there as well, just as a bit of a cameo? Yeah, sounds good. So the finished product, Dr. Ben McGraw at Penn State, he wrote the script.
That's so cool.
A little bit, myself and Ben Gibson, but Ben McGraw wrote all the script. And yeah, I loved it. It's like, I said to Ben Gibson after, I said, mate, we've got to start a series on this one.
Oh, look out. If that happens, you have to let us all know. Let us all in on that one. That's going to be so. But look, it was a great bit of laugh, a little bit of tongue-in-cheek stuff, but between you and Ben Gibson from the Toolbox team, mate, your side-by-side stands at the conference, so that was great. I had a great conversation with Ben as well, so it was great to catch up there and meet Ben again. I hadn't seen him for a couple of years. So, lovely man and great that you guys were able to get involved in that together. It was a lot of fun. Turf Lego.
No, it was. And the whole week. Mate, I always the week after, it's like, I'll be honest, there is a bit of withdrawal symptoms. Wishing I was still there because I do enjoy it. I really do. It's hard work. Doing all that talking as I do.
Yes.
But yeah, I really did enjoy it. And having you there, it worked really well. I really enjoyed you coming there and getting people to know the Golfing Greenkeeper, getting people to see the podcast and meeting you in person who listen to you all the time.
No, fantastic, mate. It's great to get those messages out. Great to meet so many people, and I really, like you said before, there's people that I've interviewed and I've never met in person. So that was really good to be able to do that, to meet them in person and say thank you for being on the podcast. And got a lot more to come this year, so looking forward to many more conversations and being able to bring that out to the audience. But, mate, like I said, thank you so much for the time in Adelaide. I had a great time. It looked like you guys had a great time. It was great to work together to put this podcast together and record live. It made such a difference. And like we said, down there when we recorded live earlier on in the episode here, that it was, we think it's the first time anyone's recorded live at the ASTMA conference in Australia.
I think very, very much so. And just want to say also thank you to the other guests as well, with Gareth and Anita there on the podcast with Pat and Jim, for them to give up their time willingly and the likes like that. So that's a great testament to yourself, Steve, for them wanting to be on the podcast. So, yeah, no. I really appreciate you getting them in on it as well.
Wonderful, Nadeem. Any other takeaways from the conference, mate? It was a fantastic time, and like we keep saying it was brilliant. Looking forward to next year in Brisbane, of course.
Yes, Brisbane. Bris Vegas is commonly known. So June, usually the same time of year, the third week in June. So hopefully all the people who are listening to this, especially if you're in Queensland, please put a note in your diary to come to the conference. You don't have to. You don't have to pay. You don't have to go to the education conference. You can just come for the trade show, which is always free. So definitely put a note in the diary for that one.
Absolutely, work hard at that one. You got 12 months to plan it out with your clubs to try and get a bit of help to make it happen. And Bris Vegas is. It will be a great stop around next year for the conference. So fantastic, mate. But look, a final plug for Colin Campbell, Goods, mate. You've been part of this little journey to get towards a conference and record live. Thank you so much, mate. We want people to go and visit you, catch up at your website, campbellchemicals.com.au, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And don't forget on the socials, and if you don't know Nadeem, if you want to get in touch with me, I can certainly pass your details around. You will be able to find out if you already got Nadeem's number in your phone saved for those turf managers and greenkeepers. Get on the blower and give Nadeem a call, and even if just to say g'day, but ask plenty of questions, he can certainly help you out in however you need to help look after your golf course and make it a better place to manage. So thank you, Nadeem, mate, and thank you to everyone for listening.
Thank you, Steve.
You hit him clean, we'll keep him green, and I'll catch up with you very soon.